So let's look now at symbiosis. And when we are talking about relationships, symbiosis is really just a relationship between any two different species. And that's the important piece here. These species are different. We're not talking about two of the same organism, two different species that have a relationship. And there's actually three different types of symbiotic relationships. The first type is what we call mutualism. And mutualism is a relationship that exists in which both species benefit from the interaction. They're both getting something out of the relationship. An example of this type of relationship would be a lichen, sometimes pronounced a lichen. Now, a lichen is a type of interaction between a fungus and an algae. It's a symbiotic relationship between a fungus and an algae. And if you're ever walking in the forest, you might see a fungus and an algae together on a tree, much like that picture there. In this relationship, the fungus actually protects the algae. So the fungus offers the algae protection. In return, the algae produces food, makes food for the fungus. And so both of these two species obtain a benefit. This is called mutualism. They both get something out of the relationship. The second type is a situation called commensalism. And in commensalism, this is an interaction where one benefits but the other is unharmed. So one species receives the benefit while the other is unharmed. And there's many situations like this. An example of this would be barnacles. So barnacles living on a whale. The barnacles themselves attach themselves to the whale. The whale offers them transportation, and as they pass through the water, those barnacles can feed on the plankton. The barnacles don't harm the whale. It is unaffected by it, but the barnacles themselves get a benefit. This is a commensalism relationship. Well, if we have one type where both benefits, a second type where one benefits, the third type is called parasitism. And parasitism is when we have an organism called a parasite benefits, but the other, the host, is harmed by living and feeding off of the body of another organism, which we call the host. So a parasite. And you may be familiar with parasites. Again, there are many different examples of parasites. The thing about a parasite is it harms the host. But this harming occurs very, very slowly. And the reason it occurs slowly is because if the parasite kills the host, it may also die itself. So it's a slow process, this parasitism. And again, there's many types here. You may be familiar with a tapeworm. A tapeworm is a type of parasite that lives in the digestive system of a mammal. And what it does is it feeds off of that mammal. And tapeworms are not a pretty type of parasite, but they can exist in mammals. And if you have pets, your pets may have had a parasite, may have had a tapeworm before. And often if you get a tapeworm, it results in eating food that is either undercooked or stored in improper conditions. But a parasite, where it feeds off the host and it receives the benefit, the other is harmed.